Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here with another layout. As you saw, this is page kit number 8 and I had a little note in there that said trip to Toronto. So what I did was I had taken quite a few pictures with my iPhone while we were going there, and so what I did was I just used my pick frame app and my Canon selfie and I printed a whole bunch of 2x2 photos. Let me count here. I have 12 2x2 photos. So I did 3 4x4 with 2x2s on it, and then I'm going to cut them apart, and then I did one 4x4, and that's going to be my main photo. Now I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to cut all those apart. I didn't even bother taking my trimmer out. I just figured they're so small, they're only 2x2, so I'm going to trim them with my scissors. I just went, as we were in restaurants, when we had stopped for a gas one, and that's the 4x4 photo. It's exit 202, and it's on in Quebec, and we had stopped there before when our kids were young, but we couldn't believe that it was still there, and it's an Esso. And it's got restaurants, got McDonald's, like a sort of a stop where you can stop and gas and eat and, get a whole bunch of stuff done, one stop shop. And they have this dinosaur park. And I remember stopping there with their kids when they were younger. But what we did was we needed a walk. We needed to stretch our legs. We had been on the road for probably, I don't know, maybe 8-9 hours at this point, so we needed to stretch our legs. So we walked around and took pictures of all the dinosaurs, and then I said, hey, let's take a selfie with one of the dinosaurs and let's send it to Mason. So that's what we did. We took a selfie, and that's the 4x4 photo, and then I sent a text to Jessica so she could show Mason. And like I said, the rest of the photos are, once what we had for breakfast. It was a free breakfast at the hotel that we stayed in. Then it was a couple of restaurants. The first night we got there, we got some pizza, which is my favorite pizza in the entire world. So I took a picture of my slice of pizza. We had gone to Lush, and I had gotten some face masks, so I took a picture of that. Then I also took a picture of the temperature while we were there, because from everybody that we talked there, they said that they had an awful summer. They almost didn't see the sun at all. And the entire weekend that we were there, it was super hot and super sunny. So they said that we had brought the sunshine. And so I took a picture that it was 29, and that's Celsius, 29 degrees Celsius while we were there. And this was at the end of September. So that's pretty good for around here. And actually, it's still... Today is October 24th, and today here it's going to be 22 degrees, which is almost unheard of for us. We're really having some nice weather. So anyway, then I told you guys that there was a new craft that I was starting. It's not really a craft, but I look at it as a craft because you deal with colors and everything. It's more like a science project, I'll tell you. So I took a few pictures of that stuff and I put it on the layout. Now I'm mounting it on some black cardstock, and I'm just going to cut all the way around. I'm just making it so that I have a nice border around all the pictures. I'm just going to gut the inside out, and then I'm going to take my scissors and just cut a small border around all the pictures. So I'm just going to tell you what my new thing is, and I absolutely love it. I'm having so much fun making these, and actually I have two more, a couple things in the plans. Now the other thing I haven't started yet, but this, I started making soap. I absolutely love it. Everything is organic, so I'm using coconut oil and palm oil and olive oil and castor oil, just all good oils for your skin. And I've done a bunch of research because you have to use lye, and lye is a caustic is caustic, so you have to really do your research. And but and there's a whole bunch of security, safety, not security, but safety things that you have to do. So I feel like I'm getting a science degree. I am learning all about making soap, and I must have watched hundreds, if not 1,000 videos on soap making. That's my new thing. I've watched so many videos on soap making. I've read a lot of like websites that talk about the different oils and the different products and the different things that you can do with soaps. But anyway, I won't talk too much about it right today, because I'm going to do a layout. Probably my next layout, I'm going to do it about soap, and then I can talk a little bit more about it. But I think I'm going to do some videos on how I make the soap. I think that's going to be fun. I mean, it's not going to become the number one thing here on my YouTube channel, but I think I'll upload once in a while of some soaps that I'm making. And what I'm cutting apart right now is some colors. So we have no soap making supplies places around this area. So when I knew we were going to Ontario, I had been looking into it for about 2 months before, and the shipping was outrageous to get it here. So I knew we were going there, so I just bought a whole bunch of supplies and found another supplier while we were there that does ship here, and it's not quite as ridiculous. But anyway, so I took my scissors, I cut about a 1/16, 1/8 border around all my photos, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to put my photos around my pictures right now. At this point, I'm putting them kind of tight all together, and then I'm trying to see if I want to make maybe sort of just a grid. I could have done this. This would have been really nice too. But because I wanted to use that other pattern paper that I had put with this page kit, I'm going to decide on a different layout for all the pictures. See this pattern paper here? I knew I wanted to use it, so I'm going to change the way that I'm going to put the pictures. Now I have 2 pictures of that 4x4 photo, but I'm okay with that. It was just sort of an overview. It was just to say that we had a bunch of fun. We had it was our first trip that we took by ourselves, and now it's possible that we're going to go again in December. So we will see. It depends on a bunch of stuff, but we might end up going to Ottawa for a few days in the beginning of December. Okay, so while I'm putting this page together, just a little bit of update about what I have been up to. The book I'm reading right now is Crimson Bound. It's by Rosamund Hodge, I believe, and it's a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. I'm about 160 pages in, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's pretty good. It's probably like a 3.75 read for me at this point, but I mean, I still have 300 pages to go, so it could go up higher than that. As far as what I'm watching on TV or on shows that I'm watching, I am watching Still Nashville. I have 2 episodes left out of season 5, and I know they're taping season 6 is on TV right now, but I just watch it once it goes on Netflix. I don't watch it live because my husband doesn't watch it, so it's something that I watch by myself. Now, I'm going to come back to that. Do you see the trouble that I'm having with that pattern paper? Again, look how crooked that I'm going to have to, look at my trimmer and see if I'm not opening up the side arm enough or what the case is. But anyway, I ripped that pattern paper and the one underneath to shreds. So I ended up just cutting it down so that I could make it straighter. And then that way it was a little bit more straight. But that pattern paper, it's a good thing it's glued down because, yeah, it's pretty wrecked. I even ripped the background here, but I'm just going to take my wet glue and I'm just going to patch it. And I'm going to end up doing a embellishment cluster right there. So you're not even going to be able to tell. But I didn't know at this point where my embellishment clusters were going to be. So I did patch it to make sure that you wouldn't be able to see it. So now that my pattern paper is way smaller, this is where I'm going to decide just to use up the size of the pattern paper, and I'm going to spread out my photos so that I just have about the same amount of border on the two sides and then also at the top and the bottom. Now all the way around is not the same, but the two sides are the same size and the top and the bottom is the same width from the pictures. So to go back to the shows that I'm watching, I have to talk about some of the new shows that were released on TV this year that we're watching and we're absolutely loving. One of them, I think two of them, is short series. One of them is a 6-part series and it's called The Disappearance. Oh my goodness, this is so good. I think the 4th episode just aired on Sunday. We haven't watched it yet, but we're really liking it. And then another one that I believe it's only like a set amount of episodes and then it's done. I think it's 10 Days in the Valley, because I believe it's only 10 days because it's going like day 1, day 2, day 3. And I think we've watched the first 3 days of that too. And it's really good. Another show that I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this because it's sort of like Marvel. It's called The Gifted. Oh my goodness. It's so good. And I have to say, all those 3 shows, they all have not just one big name or 2 big names in their shows. It's like a whole bunch of good actors in each show. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's what's her face from Parenthood, and that's what's his face from this show and that show, and it's amazing. I'm loving all the new shows that are being aired on TV this season. That's our thing that me and my husband are doing. We just watch like 1 episode a night, but we watch something every night, sometimes 2. Now we've had to stop walking. That's an update. My hernia acted up again, and I had to, it's been about a week and a half that we haven't walked, and I think now I'm going to be good to start walking again. I think I lifted something that was a little too heavy. I'm not supposed to lift anything that's above 10 pounds. And I think I lifted something that was a little bit more than 10 pounds. So I kind of hurt myself, but it seems to be okay now. So we should be able to start walking again. But the problem is, it's that it gets dark so quickly now. And I don't like walking in the dark because there's no lights on that road and it gets really dark. And it's a really narrow road. So I don't want us to get hit by a car. That's, so it's quite dangerous. So I think I'm going to start going on the treadmill again. I think our walking outside is probably going to be pretty much done unless he comes home early. Like some days he tries to come home early. And then on the weekend, we can go walk during the day. So what else am I doing? Like I said, I'm making some soap, and I'll talk about that more maybe on Friday's video. And I'm working on my new class. It's going to be a scrap class, so using your scraps. And it's going to be, this is the class that I said that is going to be a twofer. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 class. So it's going to be a gigantic class. It's going to be 2 full classes for the price of 1. So that's going to be coming up. The release date is going to be at the end of November. So be watching for that. I'm having so much fun working on that class. Now, on this layout, I decided to make an embellishment cluster at the top of the photo cluster. And it was mainly because I wanted to hide that rip in the pattern paper. So that's going to be sort of my bigger cluster, because I mentioned before that I like to do a big cluster, a medium-sized cluster, and then a very small cluster. So that's going to be my big cluster. My medium-sized cluster is going to be attached to my title. In my title, I used a chipboard word that says adventure, and then I had spelled out with some of my stickers when I made the page kit, Trip 2017. So it's going to be Adventure Trip 2017. And if you just heard that noise in the background, that was King Louis letting me know that he wants water. When his water dish is empty, he carries it all over the floor, pushing it around, making a racket, so that you cannot ignore him and go give him some water. But at least he lets us know when he's thirsty. So I had to stop the video and get him some water because he was not going to stop. He was going to push that thing around until I gave him water. So that's my middle cluster, is where my title is going to be. And then the third cluster, I put it to the right of the layout, and I sort of put it sort of in the middle, but more to one side than the other. And then the three clusters are in a triangle, and my photos are all within that triangle. Now, I took a little puffy sticker, and it's a number 1, and it's perfect because this was our first trip together alone. So I want to put the number 1 there for that. I put a little wood veneer coffee cup because, on the way there, we stopped a few times to get coffee. While we were there, we stopped at Starbucks, and I got myself a vanilla latte. I only got one the entire trip, so that was pretty good. And then in the middle of the photos, I had put with this kit a 4x4 card, and it says, "Oh baby, it's a wild ride." And that's where I'm going to do my journaling. The only thing left to add is just a few little embellishment and adding some glue to some of the arrows that I wanted to put on this layout, and some few enamel dots. And this is going to complete this layout, and I love that I got 13 pictures included in this layout. And I just love the grid. It was fun. It was a fun page to do. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. I upload videos every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And if you're enjoying these videos, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up. And that's going to complete this layout, and we will talk to you on Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.